Chapter 9, Eyela. Petrel handed the manuscript to Miguel. "You might be best to read this," she said. "I think it needs some grunge." Miguel laughed out loud as he saw the title of the chapter. "Oh, yes, please," he said. Petrel grinned. "Right," said Miguel. "This chapter is called Eyela." Everyone booed. Angel stood up and said, "Remember, everyone, it is not helpful to encourage hatred at Marescimar." "We are not," said Miguel. "We are remembering what happens when evil goes unchecked. That's not hatred." Angel looked at Miguel steadily. "You know the line, though," she said. "Don't cross it." Miguel nodded. "I know the line," he said. "I know it well." Angel sat down and waited for Miguel to start. "Here we go," boomed Miguel. When Solo, Toll and Jax arrived home, there was an uproar. Without consulting the Jews, Eyela had erected a 9-foot fence between her house and that of the Jews. Eyela was on the pavement, screeching at Nell. "I need to store things at my home for our new factory," she shouted. "And we need those things to be safe." "I know that," said Nell in a calm voice, "but this is an ugly fence, and you didn't even ask us." "It's more than a fence," said Bill. "It's a wall." Eyela rolled her eyes. Nell and Bill noticed the children. "Jax," said Nell, "welcome." Jax gave Bill and Nell a hug, and then she looked at Eyela. "I'm from the land of ice and fire," she said. "We don't have fences." Eyela groaned. "Well, good for you," she snapped. "But I need a fence. I need this fence." "It can't stay," said Nell. "I'll be putting in a complaint." Eyela shrugged her shoulders and said, "It's all for the greater good. Our factory is helping so many people and doing so much good. It's being supported by the office of the Prime Minister." Nell shook her head. "Now that reminds me," said Eyela, "I'm having a luncheon meeting right now and you're all invited. We're officially christening the fence with a bottle of bubbles, and then Monsieur Deleuze is speaking about the abandonment of Innisfree's children. He's come all the way from Drage." Nell and Bill Dew exchanged glances, hoping that they'd be able to think of an excuse fast enough. But before either of them could open their mouths, Eyela had gathered them all up. "Come on, and kiddies too," she said, putting her arm around Jax and the boys and beckoning to Tilly. "You never know what you'll learn. You too, Bill and Nell." Bill muttered, "Talk is more likely to cause the children to unlearn some of the wonderful things they already know." As they entered Eyela's living room, they were greeted by the Prime Minister, Vancro Snark. He was a strange man who thought that spaghetti grew on trees. He also thought that brown cows produced chocolate milk. He wasn't very bright. Vancro had offered more than once to sell Dragolan to the highest bidder, and he wasn't joking. The people of Dragolan were most unpleased with him and couldn't wait until their next election. Vancro was the sort of man it seemed wisest not to trust. Sitting on one of the big couches in the living room was Synthetic Nylon, a young woman who worked at the boarding school run by the thieves. She had helped the thieves employ the Spiky sisters, who were conjoint principals at the school. Next to Synthetic was Overlord Thieve. He stood up to greet the Jews. He was dressed in some sort of church clothing with a very strange hat. After they moved away from him, Nell whispered to Bill, "Wasn't he banished from his church?" "They always move the bad ones around," whispered Bill. "So wrong," said Nell.